guys, it's April. This is a sign for day 9, vinyl day of the 12 days of Christmas. And I just have a piece of, I don't even know what grit this is. I don't have any idea. It's a fine grit. And I'm just sanding where I took the label off of this sign. It is a woodpile sign from Hobby Lobby. It's a 12 by 14. I think the actual dimensions are like 13 point something, but it's a 12 by 14. This is the front of the sign, and it is smooth. Now there's some staples back here, and it's distressed, and that's okay because this is going to be a distressed looking sign. And this is the side that I'm going to use to recreate it, because we're going to turn it this way so that it looks like a gate. Okay, so there's plenty of things you can do with signs, and I'm just going to work and get these staples out. I'm going to have to get my staple remover probably. This is for paper. I have a really heavy duty one, but I just didn't want to have to go to the tool drawer and dig it out. Here we go. Hopefully I won't break this one getting them out. We're going to reuse this rope, or you can use ribbon. You can use whatever you want to hang it with, but if you want to reuse your rope, just set it to the side. This one wants to be a booger. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. Set that off to the side. Let's see if I've got these. Just enough to grab it. They're not in there that tight. That tool is just not sturdy enough. There we go. So you're going to remove all your staples there, and it's got a piece of metal or something in there. Get that out of there. It broke off. There we go. So get all your staples out of there. And if you want to fill these holes, you can. Doesn't really matter because we're going to be distressing it up a little bit. Now I don't want to stain this because I'm using acrylic and I want it to dry. So I'm going to be using some of this acrylic Fine Touch. This is from Michael's, I believe. It might be Hobby Lobby, but I'm pretty sure this is from Michael's. This is the Raw Umber. And I'm just going to use a damp cloth and go over some areas. And let me go ahead and get my water and everything, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I've got some like t-shirt materials. That one's awfully big. Get the bag of rags from a home improvement store. I don't need anything that big. So just want to go over any rough edges. I want to get rid of those. I mean, really rough or splintering areas. There you go. And we want to, I'm actually going to turn it this way so that I can tell which way I want my sign. I'm going to set it up probably just like this. So I've got just a teeny tiny bit of water over here. It's off camera, but all I'm going to do is just dip my t-shirt in it and get it damp. And then I'm just going to squirt out a little bit of paint. And then I'm just going to take that paint and I'm going to start rubbing. And I want to do it really thin. I want the wood grain to kind of show through a little bit. And I don't have to coat all of this really well, just in areas where I'm going to be distressing and sanding off, because this wood is really, really, really light. And I want just some areas with some of the brown on there. Dab some off. For when I go to distress and sand off my white paint, that these areas show through. And hopefully this method will work. I've done it before, but it was different colors that I used. So I'm going to have some areas there. This is going to be distressed, getting those little sides on that board. This area. So now we've kind of muddied up our sign a little bit. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to use some vanilla. I have some white, but I think I want to go with vanilla. Theirs is white. I want to do mine a little different. So I am just going to, right here on my, I better get another piece of butcher paper here, just so it's doubled up. I'm just going to squirt some paint out on it. I'm going to take, this is a chip brush. They're about $1. I buy these because I don't have to worry about cleaning it and all that. I can just toss it when I'm done. And I'm just going to go in here and start dry brushing. And I'm wiping most of my paint off of the brush. Order. I'm just going to get my little towel here damp, because I don't want to hide all of that distressing. You see how it blended a little bit? And we'll get into that over here too. Because this brown was really dry because of the way we put it on. It was basically dry before I started all of the vanilla color. And then down the sides. Okay, I'm going to finish doing this down the sides and this end. I'm not going to make you guys keep watching. I'm basically doing the same thing over and over and over. And you can get as heavy or as light with the paint as you want. It's your sign. Make it look the way you want. You may want yours painted solid. That's perfectly fine too. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, I finished the other side and I forgot. I wanted to make sure you guys knew how I finished the back. You don't have to finish the back if you don't want to, and I just squirt some paint right on there and start brushing it out just a little, just to make it look finished. I'm not going to go into detail doing the brown on there, and then I'm just dipping it in just a teeny tiny bit of water just to thin the paint down and kind of whitewash and coat my sign. I'm not even worried about going in between there. It's not going to show. So I'm just dipping it. I mean, just a little, just barely dipping it in the water. And then we're just brushing out that acrylic paint. Very thin, almost like a whitewash stain. And then I'll take, this is a really cheap brush. You may get some hairs from the brush if you're using one like this. Just pull them off. Take this and we're just going to wipe it. Now this literally will take 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to dry. But you can see the front. I've already got it done. I've got it all distressed out the way that I want. I think I got it backwards. Yep. This is my top. This is the way I want it. And now it's ready to decorate. So I'm going to give this time to dry on this side. This side's already dry, and I literally have only taken about 5 to 10 minutes. This side's damper because we dampened it a little bit. We didn't do that with the other side. We used the towel instead of wetting the brush. So we're going to give that time to dry. We'll come back and we're going to start decorating it. Okay guys, here is my inspiration. I found this on QVC, and I thought, why not try to recreate that? So that's what we're doing with this sign. Now you can see here why I was doing the brown and getting some of that distressing. And of course this is not going to be exact, but we're doing a replication, our own version of it. So that's what I did. And I just came over to Design Space and I measured my board, and I measured each one of the slats, and then I measured how far apart they were. Now this is just a guesstimation, so if you get that same sign that I got, the 12 by 14, I think it's like 13.98, something to that effect. If you get that sign, then this should be laid out for you, but you still need to measure your boards, okay? And there is a little wiggle room. I have welded this, but I've separated it so you can cut it and you can place it on should you need to. Now I am using print and cut. I am going to be using vinyl, but I am not sealing. Normally you would seal your sign with polyacrylic or something like that, but because mine is smooth, if my vinyl sticks, I am not going to seal. If it doesn't want to stick, then yes, I will seal it. So there's a couple of ways that you can do them, and sometimes the vinyl will stick to these that are smooth just fine without any problem. So everything is laid out. I am going to go ahead. I really don't want to weld all of those, but maybe I should. You can always contour. I'm going to weld them. You can always contour and adjust or change the font if you want to. That way it cuts and they're already in line and I don't have to fight it. That's welded. I did not weld these pieces so that you had some wiggle room on turning them if you got off on your vinyl just a little bit. But I am using Starcraft printable vinyl with a matte laminate over the top for the holly leaves. If you want to replace those with something else, you can. I've already sliced them. This is one piece and I sliced this out of the center, and this is one piece that I sliced off the bottom, and then I rotated it and brought it over here and sliced off the side. So that's how you lay out your sign. You measure your slats, you measure the size that they are, and then you cut your vinyl and bring in your elements to fit on those after you've got them situated. So let's cut the vinyl and go back to the sign. Okay guys, just in case you missed my other video where I used this, this is the Starcraft Inkjet Printable permanent vinyl. This is what you're printing on. This is the laminate, okay? And it's for the printable vinyl, but this is not printable. You need to print on this. It is not for laser printers. And once you have it printed, then you need to grab your laminate. So we're going to take a sheet of the matte out, and this comes in gloss too, so if you prefer the gloss, but for this sign I wanted matte. You could also use clear 651 if you want the gloss, but right now they're out of that, so that's out of the question. And then I'm just going to peel back a corner here on this laminate. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to place that up here on the corner of our vinyl. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my squeegee, and you can see that it's stopped right there. So I'm just going to lift up and start pulling that paper, but I don't want to pull it faster than I am applying with my squeegee. And now I'm not pulling at all. It should keep going. And I'm just working that on there. And working it like this will keep it from having any air bubbles. Okay? Same way you would apply your vinyl. And then once you get that covered, it doesn't matter if there's air bubbles, but you're just going to squeegee that right onto the top. Okay? So now we've got that protected. And the reason that you want to protect that is if you have to dust or it gets wet or something gets sprayed on the sign, you don't want that ink to be running. And you want to do this before you cut. So much easier. I'm just going to place it on the mat. We're going to cut it. We're going to come back and we're going to put it on our sign. Okay guys, so I'm back. And I just discovered I'm out of transfer tape. I thought I had another roll, but I could not locate it. But I do have some more tape, and that will work for me. I'm going to use that. So I just cut my words apart. If you have your transfer tape, use that. And you're going to weed your vinyl. And for those of you who don't know, you're just going to remove the stuff you don't want. Okay. And that's the weeding process, and you're going to do that to all your pieces. Now don't overcut like I did. I cut through my backing. You don't want to do that, but it happens. If you do, I'm going to show you how I do it. We're just going to work around it. Those are more like stickers, so it really didn't matter. I'm just going to put my tape over the top, my transfer tape. I'm using R tape. I get that at Brilliant Vinyl. There's a link down below, and it comes in different widths. And you can use that for the wet method as well. So I just kind of rub it with my fingers. I am using 631 for the red because it's matte. All of your vinyls, the gloss is going to be your Oracle gloss is going to be 651. The exception being white and black. It comes in matte and it comes in gloss for 651. Everything else, if it's matte, is 631. So I'm just placing that right about where I think it needs to go so that it hits both boards. Looks straight. And then I'm going to grab my squeegee. And I'm just going to go right over the top of that. Now, I did not seal this board. Hopefully my 631 is going to stick. I know the 651 should. And I'm just going to peel that back. And it looks perfectly fine. So we're just going to keep peeling that tape back. And it is on there. So now I'm going to get my holiday I think this is long enough. Maybe. Nope. Just shy. That's okay. Just tear off another small piece and overlap. How about that? Because you can reuse this too. Just you don't have to burnish it hard. A lot of people burnish hard and then they wonder why it won't come off the transfer tape, and that is why. Sometimes burnishing it too hard for your tape is not the right way to go. You want to always peel your paper off of your vinyl and not try to peel your vinyl off of your paper. Okay? Sometimes it'll come off that way, but most of the time it will not. So we're just going to get rid of that. And now I want, oops, can't remember where I want that. This is going to go up. I better do my 4D first, just so I know where to go, because it doesn't go down to the bottom. That's where our holly goes. I'm just going to flip it over. Just leave that one intact. And it may have cut just a little too deep on that. If you're peeling and your paper comes up like that, I got a new blade. So you might have to coax it a little bit. There's no need to fight that paper. Just take your time and get it to go for you. So I've got another, see how it's tearing the paper and leaving the backing there? That's cut too deep. And it happens, especially if you put in a new blade. So just kind of separate it. Try not to get your vinyl. You just work with it. You can get it. It takes a little more work and it's a little more tedious, but you can do it. And then 4D is going right up really close. We really want it close. That looks good. I'm on the board. You want to make sure that you're on the board because you got that gap there. And now I'm just going to peel that back. And this was $6.51 in the black. And then we're going to bring our holidays in there. And my holidays, that is going really close. Right there. Looks pretty good. Now some of the letters, I left those in there. I didn't slice them out so you would have some wiggle room. And we're just going to cut those off. So I'm just going to burnish that down. And again, we're going to peel that tape up. If yours is not sticking, again, I did not seal mine. Usually you seal your signs. This is going to be indoors, so I didn't have the need to seal it with any polyacrylic or anything. You're going to seal it if you can't get, if it's too rough for your vinyl to stick. And then I'm just going to take my scissors, if I can find them, and I am just going to snip off the tails of my letters here. You can fold them in if you want to. Totally up to you. Just gonna give them a little, peel them up just slightly and give them a little snip. But I left those on so that you guys would have some wiggle room to get your letters on there like you want them. I didn't want them to be too close by slicing it. So then we have next, it's getting there, how cute. We're going to do our little vinyls. And I just do these like stickers when they have the laminate on there because it's so easy to work with. I'm just going to bring this in right up here. Oops. Start with this edge because this edge is cut off. And you want that right on the edge of that board. Just like that. And it's okay if it goes over the holidays. just a little bit. If you don't want it to, just work with it and get it where you want. I'm just going to rub it down. So now this can be wiped with a cloth, a damp cloth, and the inks won't run. They won't fade so fast. Leave your bleed on, that way you get that edge-to-edge color. You can see that I don't have any white edges here. I got a color edge when I peel this off on my print sheet, so that tells me that I do have edge-to-edge color. I'm going to have to work with this because I cut too deep. Peel my paper off. There we go. And then this one goes here. Right on the edge of that board. And then I have one more little piece right here. It's not connected, but that's okay. It's the other side of this leaf. So you do want it. And it's super sticky, guys. These are for cars and everything else. So it's a nice thick sticker. I'm just going to take my screws and I'm going to put those on. Now you do want to measure and get them on. These didn't come with screws, so make sure you pick some up. I have some, I just have to dig them out. But that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to screw these right down on there. And we have recreated our own version of that sign. How super cute. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Make sure that when you measure these that you mark them. The way I like to mark is measure them out, and then I just press a little hole or use my pencil to mark where they're going to be. And then that way I can keep them lined up, because when you're screwing them on there, they tend to move, and you'll want to make sure that you don't get them on the lopsided. So make sure when you screw them down that you've got your holes marked and you can see them. You have a great day. I will catch you on day 10.